In a world consumed by misinformation, a shocking story broke that blurred the line between fact and fiction. It wasn't just a news report, it was a dark saga of betrayal and survival. At the center were Justin and Hailey Bieber caught in a storm they never saw. Coming by May 2024. The courtroom air was heavy with tension. The Chamber of Justice transformed into a grim theater where Sean Diddy Combs faced federal charges, including racketeering and sex trafficking, accused of running a hidden empire built on manipulation and abuse. Each day brought explosive testimony, stories of control, exploitation, and silence. Diddy's public image, once bulletproof, now cracked beyond repair. He said nothing. His denials fell flat as the evidence grew. He remained in custody as the trial pressed on, unstoppable. But this wasn't where it started. The horror had roots deep in the past, carefully hidden beneath years of illusion. The first tremors of this scandal reached Justin Bieber long before the media firestorm in the final days of April 2024. Justin was trying to find peace with his newborn son, Jack Blues, and wife, Hailey. But then something resurfaced, something he'd long tried to forge. Old video from 2009 reappeared on May 16th. Justin, then only 15, wide-eyed and full of dreams, standing next to Diddy, who was in his late 30s. The clip, titled Justin Bieber's 48 ARs, with Diddy, showed Diddy claiming he had custody of Justin. For 2 days, he laughed about going crazy. Together, called it a 15-year-old's dream. Promised girls a Lambo for Justin's 16th birthday, and a mansion when he turned 18 back. Then, people shrugged it off. Harmless banter. They said, just industry weirdness. No one questioned it. Not Justin. Not his manager, Scooter Braun. It was all about the spotlight, the music, the fame. No one saw the shadows behind the glitter. But in 2024, the internet watched the same video with new eyes. The charm was gone, replaced by unease and dread. Justin felt it deep inside. The memories returned fast and painful. A source told In Touch Weekly that he began opening up to close friends, struggling to make sense of everything at night. He whispered to Hailey, eyes red from sleeplessness. Those memories, they just keep coming back. I thought I buried them. And Hailey held him, stroked his hair. I know, my love. I'm here. We'll get through this. She knew he was unraveling the headlines, the speculation, the haunting past. It was too much. Internet took hold of the story like a beast, twisting it, spinning wild theories. Some questioned Justin's past, some questioned their marriage. Was his childhood innocence real, or was it all a carefully built lie, masking trauma, manipulation? Pain. On May 16th. Amid the chaos, Justin and Hailey's team released a statement to TMZ, and people, it said, simply, while Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who have genuinely been harmed. Diverting attention from their truth only hurts their fight for justice. For Hailey, that statement was more than just words. It was protection, a shield she built for her husband against a past he never asked for. As Justin fought to hold himself together, she stood firm, watching the media, waiting for a crack they'd never get one. On October 7th, 2024, weeks after Diddy's arrest on September 16th, Hailey made a quiet move. She posted a photo of Justin from 2017. He was on a private island in Australia, flipping off the paparazzi. The caption was one word: mood, no names, no drama, but everyone knew what it meant. It wasn't a new claim. It was a signal. A moment of raw exhaustion, a wife standing beside her husband, telling the world they were done playing along. Hailey's way of showing absolute support for Justin wasn't loud. It was quiet, defiant. A message that they wouldn't let the rumors, the noise, the speculation tear apart. What they built, it was a digital middle finger to a world that refused to leave them alone. Every time I see those comments, I feel like I'm back in that moment, Justin said one evening, scrolling his phone, his voice low and distant. They don't understand. Not everyone was a victim, but they want that story. Hailey placed her hand on his shoulder, steady, calm. I know, I understand. That's why I posted that picture. I want them to know we won't let them stir things up anymore. We have Jack. We have our life. She wasn't just being strong. She was protecting. Him she knew what the world didn't. The struggle, the past, the parts of Justin people always wanted to tear open. She'd seen it all firsthand. His battles with depression, with suicidal thoughts. He spoke of it in his 2020 documentary, Justin Bieber. Next chapter. But only she knew the full weight he carried. A source close to Justin said it clearly. The last thing Justin wants is to relive or even discuss his complicated friendship with Diddy. But the pressure from the scandal brought it all back. The memories, the confusion, the pain. It all came rushing in, and Haley stood guard. She did everything she could to help him focus on their newborn son, Jack. Blues, born August 2024. Their peace was fragile, but it mattered while they fought. To keep their world intact, the courtroom revealed horrors. Each testimony peeled back another layer of Diddy's dark empire. On May 14, 2025, the trial began, and Justin's old wounds reopened piece by piece. Diddy's legal team, led by Shaw Holley, tried to tear down the accusations, called them lies, tried to make them disappear, but the truth kept coming, wave after wave. The stories didn't stop. Haley watched, the live stream hand clenched around Justin's as the first witness spoke, the chill in her spine spreading his face, pale, frozen eyes locked on the screen. This wasn't just a trial, it was a reckoning. Rodney Jones, a former bodyguard, stepped up and called Diddy a violent sexual predator, described wild sex parties, drugs, guns, abuse. He said Diddy had a way of making people feel special, then turned them into puppets. The room fell silent. Every word felt like a knife. Justin flinched. Haley felt his hand twitch, saw him trying to stay still, stay composed, but inside he was unraveling. Had spoken before of dark figures in his early life, vague stories about being pushed, pulled, shaped by forces he couldn't name. Now the pieces were falling into place. Then came Leah Monroe, a singer once full of life, now broken. She looked nothing. Like her past self, her old manager testified on May 22, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. MPS talked about how she faded after working with Diddy, how her light dimmed, how the joy drained out of her. Her financial records showed strange money transfers, shell companies all pointing back to Diddy. It was exploitation in every form, and Haley saw Justin's tears as Leah spoke. He had lived through versions of this, not this horror exactly, but close enough. He had been a young dreamer too, used, twisted, almost lost. Marcus Thorne's name came next, a former action star turned cautionary. Tale, a Diddy associate, testified. Diddy used Marcus's addiction against him, turned him into a puppet, a slave. He said Diddy exploited weakness, crushed it under his thumb. Justin gripped Haley's hand tighter, remembering friends who went down. That same road chewed up by the business on May 24, 2025 at 1 p.m. Pissed, the court was shown grainy images of Marcus in compromising positions. The courtroom gasped. Defense objected. Judge overruled. Justice had to be seen. It was bigger than discomfort. It was about truth. These weren't random stories, they were threads in a larger pattern. Diddy's world wasn't mentorship. It was manipulation. His empire was built on fear and power, and Justin and Haley watched it all unravel, knowing how close it had once come to touching them. To be June 3, 2025, 9:45. Impeached, another former bodyguard was on the stand when it happened. Diddy clutching his chest mid-testimony, his eyes wide, panic setting in. His defense called for a mistrial. Judge granted a recess. Chaos in the room. Haley, watching with Justin at home, saw it for what it was. Just another move, just another show. She squeezed Justin's hand, felt the chill in his fingers, saw the flash of recognition in his eyes. This wasn't just about justice. This was about a man who spent decades bending attention to his will. Haley knew that Justin had seen it before, the charm, the power, the control, and now everyone else was seeing it too. For her, this wasn't about revenge or scandal. It was about protecting their peace, guarding the future from a past that refused to stay buried. Of course, here's your rewritten scene with the same raw emotional tone. No headings, no grammar checks, just the story as it flows, overshadowing the true victim's pain. He's faking it, Haley muttered, eyes locked on the screen. He has to be? Justin nodded. He was always a good actor. The next day, the prosecution made an unexpected move. Haley Bieber was called to testify. She walked into the courtroom, calm, composed, eyes steady. No fear? Your Honor, she began, her voice clear. I'm not here to talk about what Justin experienced directly with Sean Combs, because as we've already said, he is not one of his victims, but I am here to talk about manipulation, about how men like Sean Combs use power to twist truth to make others believe what they want them to believe, whether it's a glamorous lie or a staged charade. She turned her gaze straight at Diddy, who sat cold and still at the defense table. Yesterday's act, she said, her voice growing sharper, was just that, an act. He faked a heart attack to draw attention to himself, to gain sympathy, while real victims are still out there, still trying to find peace, still waiting for justice that is unacceptable. The courtroom went silent. Haley didn't bring new evidence. She didn't need to. What she said struck a deeper chord. It exposed Diddy's patterns, his control, his disregard for the pain of others. Less than 24 hours later, on June 4, 2025, at 7 a.m. Pissed. The medical report confirmed what Haley already knew. Diddy was fine, physically fit to continue. The collapse was a performance, and the media turned on him. Hard. Headlines called it a mockery of justice, a disrespect to real victims. The trial resumed on June 5, 2025. The courtroom tense, eyes sharper than before. Diddy's stunt had failed worse. It had sealed the public's view of him not as a misunderstood icon, but as a man desperate to manipulate his way out of accountability. Justin and Haley watched every moment, each testimony a cut, each new fact dragging old memories back up. Justin didn't speak much during those days, but Haley never left his side. She held him, helped him breathe through it. The defense's final argument rang hollow. They painted Diddy as a successful man targeted by envy. This is a witch hunt. Sean Hawley declared, my client is a victim of greed and jealousy. But the prosecution didn't let go. They didn't let the jury forget what this was really about. They spoke of broken dreams, of stolen lives. They said Laya Monroe's name. They said Marcus Thorne's name. They made sure no one could ignore the weight of it. This isn't about fame, the prosecutor said. This is about justice. This is about a man who destroyed lives and thought his power would protect him. Diddy stood pale beside his legal team, his eyes darting as the jury foreman stood up, a woman with a face that gave nothing away, on the charge of racketeering. She said, voice firm, we find the defendant Sean Combs guilty. A wave of emotion moved through the courtroom. Sobs, gasps, silence. Haley squeezed Justin's hand. Titan, June 10, 2025 at 11 a.m. Pesty, the judge delivered the sentence her. Voice flat, steady, she spoke of power abused, of systems broken by one man's greed. She said the entertainment world had looked away too long, let too much slide. Sean Combs. She said, her voice like stone. For the crimes of racketeering and sex trafficking, you are hereby sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 30 years. Diddy didn't move. He stood frozen. The courtroom didn't explode. No one screamed because deep down everyone already knew this was how it would end after the trial. Justin and Haley stepped out of their home, not celebrating, just breathing tired. It's over, Haley said, resting her head against Justin's shoulder. Finally over, Justin whispered. I hope so. Haley looked at him, held his hand tighter. The memories will stay, but we'll face them together always.